Hey everybody, and welcome back to another severe storm thermal weather forecast. In this forecast, we have a lot to talk about, so let's get right into it. We're first going to be taking a look at our precipitation trends for the day today. And going into the day tomorrow, notice this area down here of some showers and storms across Florida. That could be producing some brief damaging wind gusts and maybe some large hail before that begins to move out and we begin to quiet down with a boundary that's likely going to set up, a stationary boundary with the cold air coming out of the north and the real mild air getting northward there into that territory that is likely going to allow for those air masses to clash, and each tries to push against each other to create those shower chances, and that'll continue through the day on Wednesday. But notice that what's happening out west, all right? Look at this big atmospheric river that will be producing rain and snow and wind and all sorts of things. That's not only going to be an atmospheric for the west, but that's also going to be a massive big-time storm system for the central and eastern United States. And if you notice here, those isobars starting to get packed together in the plain states by Thursday afternoon. Little minor system with some strong thunderstorms in the deep south regions. And then as we take this into the day on Friday, here comes the big-time storm system. 972 millibar low potentially, with blizzard conditions wrapping around on the backside and severe weather flaring up on the eastern side. Notice what happens here as we head in towards Friday evening. This low pressure system will continue to move northward as a 970-something millibar low pressure system, blizzard conditions on the western side of the system, and severe weather on the front side of the system. But if you look how expansive this wind field is, all right? Like all the way, like from probably 1,000 miles from Colorado to Pennsylvania, you have possibly 40 plus mile per hour wind gusts. And whenever you get into like this territory here, that's when you're talking about your 50 mile per hour wind gusts. So Friday evening could start getting windy for a lot of people ahead of the storm system. Before the storm system begins to affect portions further east as we head into the day on Saturday with blizzard conditions further north, and then you can see your severe weather threat is likely still going to be going pretty far north, possibly maybe that area of Ohio, Michigan, Ontario, back into portions of the Gulf Coast region before the storm system begins to make a run at another front here, maybe with a squall line up and down, and then this thing finally begins to move out after all, and we will likely be relieved from any type of severe weather we get from this. All right, the most important thing needed for thunderstorms is convective available potential energy here, so let's put that into motion. You can see taking this into Friday afternoon, you can notice that convective available potential energy is plentiful all the way as far north as Minnesota, and even as we head into the day on Saturday, it's pretty plentiful across portions of the Ohio Valley, back into portions of the Gulf Coast. We'll likely see a decent thunderstorm threat there. And then that big shot of energy comes, that big cold front with at least a little bit of instability, likely a squall line, and then that begins to move off towards the east, and we will likely be done with the severe weather for a couple of days. And for severe weather to happen, we need bulk shear, and we have it, trust me. And notice this, as we head in towards Friday afternoon, we really have it in these areas, and where it's overlapping with that instability, these areas are your areas to watch for that severe weather threat, and that's exactly where Storm Prediction Center is highlighting. And then as we take this into the day on Saturday, that threat again will move eastward into the Ohio Valley, back down into the Gulf Coast. I wouldn't be surprised if SPC expands their 15% into the areas I circled. So definitely want to be on lookout if you live in those areas. And then here comes that kicker piece of energy with likely damaging winds, a damaging squall line, likely of rain showers. And then this thing begins to move out as a whole. Like I said, several different times before, but taking a look here at your rotation in the atmosphere, what's the potential for tornadoes? Well, you can see as we head in towards early Thursday, we might actually have a little bit of a threat of tornadoes down here with that small scale system, but as we head into Friday, notice how that tornado parameter really starts to crank up across this area. Again, that's where all of your convective available potential energy is. So anywhere in this circle region, really in these yellow and red areas, could see the potential for maybe a tornado or two. But look at that. As we head in towards early Saturday morning, your convective available potential energy is still going to be going. It's not going to be plentiful like in afternoon hours on Saturday, but we could still see a tornado along the squall line into, let's say, Saturday morning before we begin to see the next round flaring up on Saturday afternoon. Again, anywhere in the circle region, especially in these yellow and red areas, there are two localized areas, northern Ohio, northern Pennsylvania, northwest Pennsylvania to be exact, back into the Gulf Coast. All right, you guys really need to be watching there if you live in any of those areas I just mentioned. And then as we head in towards about early Sunday morning, that threat of tornadoes will be moving off towards the east. Again, we'll likely see a squall line try to develop of gusty showers along the cold front with the potential for 60-mile-per-hour winds. And then this thing again begins to move out as a whole with little to no tornado threat in the Carolinas as we head into the day on Sunday. Now, in terms of your dew points, where do we go with moisture? Well, notice this. We get a big surge of moisture as we head into the day on Friday as that storm system moves in. As you can see, 50-degree dew points as far north as Wisconsin, upper 40-degree dew points possible as far north as Minnesota. Then as we take this into the day on Saturday, notice we got a good corridor of near 60-degree dew points from Ohio back into portions of the Gulf Coast regions. Again, guys, any of these storms will at this point be capable of damaging winds and the potential for a few tornadoes. So we really need to be keeping an eye on that. And then, like I said, this all moves out as a whole as we head in towards that time frame. And now to determine our hail threat, taking a look at your mid to low level lapse rates. As we head into the daytime hours on Friday, notice here that there is a decent amount of mid-level lapse rates in this area, all right? So you have a pretty decent hail threat in Illinois and especially into the northern portions of the forecast area. And then as we head into Saturday, that hail threat will still linger across portions of the Ohio Valley back into portions of the Gulf. And then the system begins to move offshore. Will the Carolinas have a gusty wind threat? Maybe, but the severe threat is overall looking to crash out as we head into the day on Sunday for the Carolinas. So that is some really good news there. But taking a look lastly at your 850 millibar jet stream, you can see this basically shows where your low-level winds are. You can see as we head into the daytime hours on Friday, notice it's plentiful across this area with 40 to 60 to 70 knot low-level jet. And notice as we head into the daytime hours on Saturday, still some strong low-level jet energy, 50 to 70 knot low-level jet possible across this area. And then we'll likely see this moving offshore as we head into the day on Sunday. All right, everybody, I'm Severe Storm Filmer. We'll continue to keep you posted with the latest on this big-time storm system because it's going to affect a lot of people. Again, likely somewhere in here for the day on Saturday and in here for the day on Friday. All right, guys, until the next time, I will see you on the next video.